With us in the studio now is Dan Silva. Dan is the author of Deluxe Paint III, and next to Dan is Jim Schneider, president of Innovision Technology.
Jim, on the last segment, there was a machine here that said Amiga 2000, and this one says Amiga 2500. What's the difference between those two?
Right, this has just been updated. This is a brand new version of the Amiga 2000 series. It's called the Amiga 2500.
Okay.
And this has a 14 megahertz processor, 68,000 processor, and it also contains a 40 megabyte internal hard drive. The machine's advantages over the predecessors are that it runs at a 3 to 4 times faster clock rate, so you get performance in your packages magnified by that amount.
Okay, and what would you expect to pay for a package like this as retail price?
This advanced model with the accelerator would cost about $4,000 for the monitor and the basic Amiga 2500 system.
And can you compare it in, let's say, computing power with the Mac product line, for example?
Yes, with the Macintosh 2 specifically, this would gain a slight performance advantage in general processing. In addition, the graphics coprocessor built into all Amigas would give it the advantage in graphics.
All right, Dan, speaking of graphics, you're the author of Deluxe Paint. You've got Deluxe Paint III coming out in just a couple of weeks, I guess. What are the new improvements in Deluxe Paint III?
Well, almost every aspect of the program has been enhanced. We've got the ability to paint and overscan, which gets rid of the black border around the picture. You use extra half-bright mode, is an Amiga mode that gives you 32 additional darker colors. And there's a new font requester, which lets you load color fonts and reassign the font directory. There's new fill-in paint modes, but the most important feature, and I think the one I'm going to demonstrate today, is the animation capability. This, I'm going to play an animation that was created entirely in Deluxe Paint. As you can see, I can create three-dimensional transformations, moving any bitmap object through 3 dimensions. And I'm going to show you interactively how you can actually create animations a little bit. This is still a paint program, and I can paint in every frame, jump to the next frame, and paint in that. By doing this, I can create an animation. Play that back, you'll see I've actually created a moving object there. In addition, all the normal painting tools can be used to create animations. If I click this tool, instead of just painting on one screen, I can hold down a key on the keyboard and paint on separate screens, creating an animation. I can then reduce the size of the brush interactively and have it fade off in the distance. And just by hand, I've created an animation.
What does each picture take in terms of storage?
I'm not storing the entire picture. I'm only storing the differences between the pictures, so you can get much more use out of your memory.
And do you have the ability to change light sources and so forth?
No, this is just a painting program. There is no three-dimensional modeling. I'm moving bitmaps around. I also have the ability to create anim brushes. Here's what I call an anim brush that was painted in this program and then picked up off the screen, cutting through all the pictures. I can now paint it down on one frame, or if I hold down the animation key, I can fly it through separate frames. I'll fly him off the screen here. Now if we play that animation, you've got a bird flying. I can also do a three-dimensional move of that to demonstrate the three-dimensional capability. I'm going to tell this to start 600 frames away. I can do a preview of this, see the rectangle coming up. Now I can tell it to render it. Now I have a bird flying out of the distance, getting closer. I can now tell him to keep flying. Fly on past me there. Now we've got a bird doing a flyby. Here he comes and zooms by. And these anim brushes can be used to do anything that a normal brush can be used for.
You're doing this in real time now,
This is all real time. Just as I can use a normal brush to paint with, I can paint with an anim brush, and this turns out to be an unexpected useful feature. You can create anim brushes, which for instance are a bunch of different leaves on trees, and paint trees without them looking repetitive. So what we've got is a program that's both a full-featured paint program and an animation program rolled into one.
Dan, that's great. I want to ask you to slide the keyboard over to Jim there so we can get Video Effects 3D up. Let me ask you while he's getting ready, Dan, at what level is this kind of paint program being used? I mean, is this professional level graphics being created?
It's being used both by professionals and by 5-year-olds. It's probably the most popular paint program on the Amiga, and I found everyone uses it.
All right, Jim, what do you have?
I have a product called Video Effects 3D for the Amiga. This is designed primarily for the video graphics industry. This is a professional level product that allows the creation of animation sequences for titles and logos. A lot of times you see these kind of animations on TV. I have a demo here of several sequences that were created with Deluxe Paint, as a matter of fact. These titles were loaded in, and these three-dimensional special effects were created. We have the ability to do multiple object motion. You're seeing playback at real-time speeds from computer memory. Here you're going to see a page shatter, very easy to do. This is an effect that normally $100,000 machines can do. Right here, the Amiga word, notice it's flat. We're going to turn that into a 3D extruded logo right here just by pressing one button. That extrudes it into a light-shaded three-dimensional object.
Jim, is this used for broadcast work?
Yes, it has been used in a number of programs, national campaigns, and even TV commercials.
All right, what's next?
Okay, basically the logos here, or the menus here, are actually explained here on the screen. One unique feature of the user interface is that if you have a question about a particular function, you just place your cursor over the button, it gives you an explanation. It's very easy to start up with. The next product I'd like to show is Broadcast Titler.
Yes, you have got to load that up now. And what does Broadcast Titler do while you're loading their...
Right. Broadcast Titler is a professional level character generation program. The titles that you normally see on television are generated by expensive equipment that bring on titles with different effects in high resolution. This package here does the same thing on a very affordable Amiga system. We have the ability to display multiple colors, up to 320 colors on a page, with extraordinary high resolution graphic characters. We have the ability to do transitions with each page of text. We have up to 1,000 pages of storage. I'll show you an example here. Here's an example title page that was created with the package. These are all standard fonts available on the Amiga system. I can play some of the effects that the program can do. Slides from different directions, 9 speeds for all the effects. The graphics you are seeing here would normally be overlaid over video using a Genlock device, and this is as well a very high resolution package.
All right, Jim, that's very impressive. Now, you said this is being used at the professional level. Is this being used by TV networks now, for example?
Yes, it is. The actual Video Effects 3D and Broadcast Titler have been used for professional commercials, national campaigns. It was even used in the Super Bowl for the Jumbotron scoreboard.
And what's the cost of your package?
Our Video Effects 3D is $199.95, and the Broadcast Titler is $299.95.
This is going to revolutionize the TV production business, I guess. Jim, Dan, thank you very much. That's our look at the new Amigas. We'll be back with this week's computer news in just a moment.